This is Richard Dean Anderson, and you're listening to Making Fun of MacGyver.
I've done everything for you. You've done nothing for me.
Tonight, a mountain man who witnessed toxic waste dumping has testimony that is vital for MacGyver and Pete, but his flashbacks to Vietnam could threaten their case. Hey, can Sam and Jeff make it through 25 utterances of the word doag? Find out next on Making Fun of MacGyver. It's Making Fun of MacGyver, a rib-tickling takedown of our favorite 80s adventure show, Voyagers. Now, it's MacGyver, starring Sam Jordan as the skeptic and Jeffrey Hess as the scientist.
Name's MacGyver.
Welcome, everybody, to Making Fun of MacGyver. It's the show where we recap, review, and lovingly ridicule every episode of the original series. You are basically listening in real time to two men becoming experts on this show, which we were not until this show, but we're getting there. So come along for the ride. I'm Sam Jordan, your host, and as usual, I'm joined by my fellow MacGyverite, the polluted pooch of the podcast, Jeffrey Hess.
I will not eat the toxic sludge coming down the river like immediately and die instantly. I promise you that. I'll die agonizingly slowly over the course of weeks.
Oh, just like us with this show. Slowly
right.
dissolving.
Over the course of years.
Yes. Jeff, big question time. Are you ready to see more oozing pink discharge than my last doctor's visit?
I don't think that's possible, but I'll give it a shot.
I did share the pictures, and you said this is a lot.
Thank you for reminding me of the thing I had tried to forget.
All right, good, because we're moments away from Making Fun MacGyver. It is our 80th episode, and it's the 60th episode of MacGyver that we've taken under. So that's pretty cool, right? 80 episodes as a show. We've recapped 60. I think that's a pretty cool ratio. We've done 20.
That's
Oh, he's got the calculator.
yeah, 75% of them are actually about the episode, and then
Boom.
25% are adjacent.
A delicious recipe for success, in my opinion. Yeah. And tonight we're talking about Season 3, the beloved Season 3, Episode 16, the spoilers.
Is it?
Or is it called Earthquake, as it's known on Paramount Plus? I could not find anything on this.
What are we calling it? We're calling it the spoilers.
We're calling it the spoilers, because that's what it says on IMDb. So what we're talking about is that on Paramount Plus, where Jeff and I watch the show now in glorious high definition, this episode is called Earthquake. But everywhere else, I can see it's called The Spoilers. So it threw us for a loop. But
Earthquake is a much better name for it.
Yeah, The Spoilers is what? The people that are polluting the environment? What's
They're the people spoiling the environment.
Okay. But first, before all that, it's our opening gambit. 80 shows, 60 recaps, not too shabby. So 139 episodes of the series. Let's just round it up to 140 because there's the 2 TV movies. So that's what you got to remember. 140. We're going to do 140 of these episode recaps. And we've done 60 now. So 70 is the halfway point. So when we hit 70 episode recaps, we'll be about halfway through with the episode recaps. And we're at 60 now. So, Jeff, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I figured I'd check in on yours. How are you doing?
My mental health is fantastic.
It's good?
Yeah, I'm in great shape. How about you? Are you doing well, Sam?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. You know,
are you feeling any sadness or regret?
I will say right now is certainly one of my better points of the podcast. You know, like a couple of years ago, not so
Lots
great.
of regret. Massive amounts of sadness. No. Much regret.
I wouldn't have checked in on you a couple of years ago. I would just have told you it's Mental Health Awareness Month and ask you to help talk about me for a little while.
Definitely don't ask a question you don't want the answer to kind of scenario.
No, but one of the clients for my regular job that I've been working with was dealing with Mental Health Awareness Month. So it was on my brain, and I've been hearing more stuff about it, so I figured I'd do a little check-in with you. And as usual, not as usual, but as we have said on this show before, and I'll put this out there for me, I'm not going to give you the phone number like Mike gave you that one time, but if you're someone who's needs a friend, needs to talk to somebody, and for some reason you think, you know what, I kind of like those guys on Making Fun of MacGyver. That guy Sam sounds pretty lonely and desperate, and he says it a lot. So he would probably let me talk to him or message him. You know what? You're right. I am one of those people. So if you're just like in a cave somewhere mentally and emotionally, and you just want to talk to, I can't vouch for Jeff because Jeff has a family. But
Yeah, don't call me.
but if you like send us an email at makingfunmacgyver@gmail.com or get in touch with us some other way, and you're like, hey, I'm going to take you up on that offer. Can you talk for 15 minutes about MacGyver and also my dad who's a jerk? I'm probably going to do it. So there's that. We'd love it if you checked out and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Making Fun of MacGyver and hit the little subscribe button, and your teeth will instantly become 20% whiter or your money back. So that's a pretty good Jeff showing those chompers. Jeff, James Hong, remember him from The Wish Child and another episode?
How could I forget?
Right, legendary actor, has appeared in more than 450 roles since the 50s, overcome kind of like, prejudice and racism from the early on, but now just kind of a legend. But I think we mentioned a few months ago that he got a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, didn't we? I think we did.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to
Long
mention
overdue.
that again. But the other thing I didn't know, because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I'm going to see it very soon because my mom wants to see it, and it won the Best Picture. But he apparently has a role in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. The Best Picture winning film from last year.
Yeah. Where he will surprise you, he plays a very old man.
Okay, so I just want, this is your one-stop shop for James Hong news. And I did not know he was in that movie, but I'm going to see it. And so did you see it? Did you like it?
Oh, it's excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very good. Very deserving of its Best Picture nominee. Then I recently watched Top Gun Maverick, and I can't believe people were suggesting that for Best Picture.
You know what? I got about 15 minutes into it, and I was also watching with my mom and my backup mom, as I call her. So they're not the target demo, but we were like, I don't know if we want to keep going with this. And then we kind of stopped and went to something else, which we also didn't love. But I was expecting to love the new Top Gun, but I still have never seen the original. I probably got to do that too. So
You really got to get over the amount of like Tom Cruise polishing that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
There is barely a minute that goes by in that film where someone's not explaining in detail how tremendous and wonderful Tom Cruise is.
Yeah. All right. So there's our hot contemporary movie takes. Now let's get back to the 80s where we belong. Hey, Jeff, you think of what I'm thinking?
I don't know.
I'm thinking about viewer mail.
Yeah.
Sound about right to you, or that one's
A little short.
a little short? A little short.
Yeah. Or long. I can't remember which joke I'm using now.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Well, we've had a real good couple months with RDA and Mike coming back and all that stuff. But I got to say, we didn't get any correspondence this week. Nothing really of note. Okay, Christian from Norway, our beloved Christian, said, hey, you guys mentioned my name a lot in this last episode. And I realized the joke was that we were talking about Christian Alfonso, the actress who played Deborah in The Negotiator.
Yeah. She
But I
left
wasn't
an impression.
Yes, she did. But I'm not going to count that as viewer mail. So we actually don't have any viewer mail. So I thought, what the heck? Like, I just got my mail, and maybe you could get your mail, and like we just see what we got in our actual mailboxes today.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I got some mail right here.
Okay. Yep, he's crinkling. That means it's real.
Oh,
What do you got?
yeah. This is the bill for the new car I bought.
You got a new car?
I got a new car. Any of my California friends, I don't know if we have many, but there's a notorious freeway that I was on, and a truck flung a large piece of debris at my old car, which got totaled. So that enabled me to buy a new one.
That's the best kind of accident, right? Like, no harm to your body, car done, and then you got some insurance money, or no?
Yeah, we paid This is crazy. I was a 2011 Chevy Malibu, piece of junk, and we paid $8,000 for it in 2017, and the insurance company gave me $11,000.
Woo!
So you never see used cars appreciate. It's basically unheard of. So I took that money and turned it into an MK7 Golf R, which I've been tooling around town with to great joy.
And I kid with Jeff. I'm calling this Jeff's middle class midlife crisis.
I'm face first. Like, I'm completely with the existential dread, with the kids reminding me of my own mortality. I tear up at things that involve like old men dying and stuff like this. It's bad. I'm crashing into midlife crisis with a kind of vigor that's reserved for someone of my very impaired mental capacities.
Come on in, friend. The water's fine. I'm already in there, so jump in. And the midlife crisis is always like the Corvette, right? The guy who's in his like mid 40s, 50 gets the Corvette or the crazy sports car. So you're still a little young for that, but I mean that's not really your demo or our demo for the Corvette. So you've got what is it? What's the car?
It's a Mark 7 Golf R. So it's a little hatchback, but it's got a 300 horsepower under the hood, 300 pound-feet of torque, all-wheel drive, big-ass turbo on a little four-cylinder, huge modding community, tons of aftermarket products that I'm going to, be modding it and stuff like that. Got a tremendous deal on it, one of the cheapest ones in the whole country, and I'm so excited. I've never had a fun car. I've never actually had a car I wanted to buy, only cars like I could buy and had to buy. Mm-hmm. So this is the first time I've gotten to pick one, and I love it so much. It's everything I was hoping it would be. It's terrific.
Oh, great. Well, yeah, everyone deserves to have like at least one car that they really love everything about it. So I'm glad you got that.
I would have considered Corvette, except it's 2-seater, and I've got a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, and that's
so
not gonna
cliche.
fly.
And I don't know, so low to the ground. It's just I don't know. I love the fact that you get into an accident. You see your life flash before your eyes. And you're like, I need a faster car for the future. I'm a dad of 2 small children. I need a fast car.
I have long since embraced that driving is I hate driving, like mandatory driving, that you have to drive to the store, you have to drive to work. I have long since accepted that driving's trying to kill me. I've been in like a dozen accidents. The last car I had caught fire and exploded, and that's why I lost that one. This one got hit by a piece of debris. So if I'm going to die, I might as well like make it quick.
Well, best of luck to you. Congrats on the new car. Oh, a name at some point?
I'm working on a name. I floated to my wife the idea of vanity license plates. So I'm thinking Sweet Baby R. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Well, let's not rule out any character of the many we've met on MacGyver, because that
it could be MacGyver.
Ooh, true. Or Earthquake, maybe.
Little tiny little thing called Earthquake.
This is one of the better things I can get in the mail each month. It's the monthly Costco savings coupon book. Tells you what's going to be on sale for the next month. So I'm a huge Costco shopper, as I think we know. You know. Let me take a look here. Oh, paper plates, $4.50 off. Dixie Ultra 10 and 1/18 16-inch plates, 186 count, $4.50 off. I'm going to pick up some of those.
That's a lot of plates.
It is.
That probably lasts you better part of a year?
No, I hate to say it, but I kind of go through a healthy amount of paper plates and plastic cups because I hate doing dishes. Yes. Yeah. All right.
MacGyver would not approve.
He would not.
We have back-to-back environmentalisms episodes.
I know.
And you're like using paper plates and plastic cups.
They are beating this drum hard in the environment. But there you go. There's a check of our mail. We won't bore you much longer. I got a coupon for Papa John's, but I've already said, being the New Yorker snob, like no to Papa John's. And you don't do Papa John's either, right?
We don't have them out here.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
But if you do what I told people not to call me, but if anyone wants to talk about Golf R or Golf GTI, I'm all over it. It's all I can think about.
It's like the secret menu at a fast food place, right? If you say the right code, you will get a pipeline to Jeff to talk about this car.
Normally you get glassy-eyed indifference, but you mention this car and it's like instant engagement.
All right. Well, let's engage now with the 80s. But we're in March 14th, 1988. I don't know what's going to happen when we get to the 90s episode, but I'm going to feel a little less love for it. And I'm going to find a way to still pull the 80s back in, just to let you know right now. But let me take you right now to Monday, March 14th, 1988. The number one movie in America remains, hit me,
Fatal Attraction.
You son of a bitch. Why do you forget this?
Crocodile Dundee.
Come on.
It's Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes, but that's not the way you say it.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Do you see what I have to deal with, people out there, listeners? Do you see what I have
How
to
many
deal
weeks?
with?
This is like 6 weeks in a row.
It's a lot. The number one song is Never Gonna Give You Up, the debut single by English singer and songwriter Rick Astley.
Oh, no. How long does it stay on top of the charts?
Unfortunately for you, just 1 week. You will not get a chance to do it. So I'm singing it to you. You wanted to do it or no?
I mean, I feel a little robbed now that I would have assumed it would have been on longer. I guess it kind of had like a boomerang sort of
Let's
popularity.
talk about it. But you know what? I will invite you to sing it with me at the end of the show. How about we do that?
Yeah.
So let's talk about this song. Released, I was surprised, in July of 87. Released in July of '87, written and produced by Stock Aitken Waterman, was released as the first single from Astley's debut album, Whenever You Need Somebody. The song was a worldwide #1 hit, initially in the UK in '87, where it stayed at the top of the chart for 5 weeks and was the best single of the year. It eventually topped the charts in 25 countries, including the US. Now, the music video, of course, for the song surged in popularity beginning in 2007 due to the Rickroll internet meme, in which a user expecting some entirely unrelated content is shown this video instead. It increased in popularity after its use as a 2008 April Fool's Day joke by various media companies and websites, including YouTube, which Rickrolled all of its featured videos on that day, allowing people to easily Rickroll their friends' devices and whatnot. And '07 and '08, I vividly, there's a period of pop culture that I distinctly remember being connected with you when we were working in the newsroom. And this is one of those. I remember that happening as we were in the newsroom working every day together.
Yeah, it spawned a whole subgenre of roll type pranks, but none of them are as good as the original. Because the drums hit on this song, and it's like one note, and you know exactly what this song is.
The title and concept for the song were suggested by Pete Waterman and Astley after Astley spoke to him of his devotion to his then girlfriend.
Who he gave up?
Yeah, he did.
He gave her up?
The music video for Never Gonna Give You Up was directed by Simon West, filmed in London, largely around the London borough of Harrow. Now, here are some stats. This is going to be fun. Since being uploaded to YouTube on October 25th, 2009, I don't know. Okay. The video has received how many views, Jeff?
Are we into the 9th figure? Are we over 1 billion? I'm feeling 1.5 billion.
Very good guess. 1.3 billion. 15 million likes.
Okay, so why can I do that and not figure out how many MacGyvers are in an episode? I can count to 1.5 billion, but not to 13.
It gets over 456,000 daily views, 13 million monthly views.
So stupid. God, I love the internet so much.
Yeah. And I'm going to sing it now for you. You're going to get Rickrolled. This one goes out to my former girlfriend. Here we go. We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. A full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just want to tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never gonna say goodbye. Never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. That wasn't my best, but it happened.
Ah, what a jam. Literally never gets old.
So it's Monday, March 14th, 1988. And at 8 o'clock that night on ABC, it's MacGyver Season 3, Episode 16, The Spoilers, a.k.a. Earthquake. And now I hand over the reins of the show to the next level of MacGyver narrators, the gentleman Jeffrey Hess.
MacGyver's on a real environmentalism tear because we once again find him in the mountains complaining about the environment.
We've got a pretty good planet here, as planets go. The trouble is, we're letting it go down the drain in too many places. Random testing downstream had turned up some strange trace elements. It was pretty close to home, so the Phoenix Foundation had a real incentive to find out why what should be clean water was showing up polluted.
And we find out why it's showing up polluted basically immediately, because two guys in a big old tanker truck pull up, and they pull out a hose from this truck, and they start spewing this disgusting-looking pink liquid absolutely everywhere, all down this river.
It's like Pepto-Bismol, just like being sprayed out of there. What pollution could be that pink?
I have no idea what actual radioactive waste looks like, but I cannot believe that it looks like that. Like, it needs to look cooler for something to be so dangerous.
Like that bright yellow antifreeze kind of stuff. But that just seemed like children's party playtime something. I don't know, it just seemed very pink, and
I'm pretty sure it's like they wanted a color that's going to pop out. Like, they just want something that's going to be easy to see. But now I'm really curious as to what like actual radioactive waste is, because that's what these guys are spilling everywhere. The water, this waste flows downstream where we don't know it yet, but Earthquake Toberman and his doag are waiting. And the dog immediately sticks his face in that pink water and drinks it and dies instantly.
I'm sorry to be laughing
No,
at the death of it.
no, it's hilarious. Like he drinks it and he's dead within seconds.
Right. And we don't need IMDb to tell us, but they do tell us that a dog would not die that quickly from whatever was there.
Well, I'm hoping that the MacGyver show doesn't actually go around killing dogs. That must have been an actor dog, right?
Of course they didn't kill a dog for that. But I'm just saying, like, right, no dog would die that quickly. Almost no matter what it ingested, it wouldn't be that instantaneous.
So the speed at which this dog died, I was laughing really hard in my house. And I was starting to think, I hope this whole episode is like this, because it might become my favorite episode of MacGyver so far.
But you've lost a dog in the last, 4 or 5 years?
Oh, it was years ago. Yeah, and died the same way. This idiot dog ate something and got itself killed. Like and this dog ate everything.
So you
and it ended up.
You lost a dog the same way Toberman, Earthquake, lost his dog. And when this comes on, it doesn't hit you with a tinge of sadness, or you're like, oh my God, that's funny. And it happened to me.
It's just so funny. Like, the dog immediately drinks it and then just like turns around and hacks like once or twice. And then there's just like a picture of a dead dog. It's very funny. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, it is insensitive, I guess. Maybe, is it funny or am I just weird?
No, I think it is funny because it's got that cheese. There's no believability to it. We didn't get to know this dog at all, or the dog. He's also called a doag. Maybe it was a different species being called a doag.
Yeah. Well, it upsets Earthquake furiously, who goes and attacks the goons and fights them, and then begins to throw one into the sludge. He's like, have a taste of your own poison! And he gets shot with a shotgun. And that alerts MacGyver, who comes over and basically saves Toberman's life as the waste truck flees further down the road. Some ways down, they peel off fake stickers and stuff and reveal that they're actually, surprise, illegally dumping toxic waste. This is when MacGyver and Earthquake start to get to know each other. MacGyver's like, you got to help me. We got to go back into town. You got to see a doctor. And Earthquake's like, no way am I going back into town. And we have the first of our many, 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 many Vietnam flashbacks.
I thought you were going to say many dozen MacGyvers. I was like, really? I don't recall that. But yes, the Vietnam flashbacks.
Yeah, no, there are at least 7 of these. I think, maybe 12. But in my notes, he's still listed as Dog Guy. But Earthquake starts having flashbacks, and he's like, I learned a long time ago to bury the dead, and that's it. And you see, like, Vietnamese parents, like, over a casket, and you're starting to get the idea that, oh, he loved someone in Vietnam, and she died, and that's why he's so damaged right now. And he introduces himself, refuses to help Mac, and Mac says, okay, like, that's what you want to do, and they take off. So the bad guys take the truck back to the cleaning facility where it's getting all cleaned up, and the main bad guy is berating them for getting caught by Earthquake Toberman and letting their faces get seen. And this is when he explains to his henchmen exactly how they're making their money.
Got a rundown on the guy that shot Mr. Farber, Daniel Toberman, some kind of hermit, lives up in the backwoods.
Has you reported the incident?
Not to the cops or the EPA.
Good. And the running water would have diluted the toxics by now. And they'll never be able to trace them. I think we're clear. But run a background check on this Toberman.
Well, why bother?
Because I told you so. Look, I turned this operation into a perfect legal cover. We have something to protect here. Toxic waste disposal is very profitable for the organization. In 10 years, we'll be part of an industry worth billions, bigger than narcotics. So, one mistake. It's one too many.
Hey, you screwed this up. We're a secret dumping operation. We're taking in the stuff legally and then dumping it illegally, and it makes a lot of money. So you guys need to get on your game and stop screwing it up. Well, screwing it up is what is about to happen, because to the tune of some of the greatest 80s shred metal music you have ever heard, Earthquake Toberman is headed into town on a bus. And it's so epic. He gets off the bus, like it's like dark in the city, and there's all this, it's so great. It's such an amazing 80s moment with remember the saxophone professor from season 2?
Of course.
It's like that level of 80s awesome to me. And immediately he gets jumped in the alleyway, which leads to even more Vietnam flashbacks. And that causes him to Hulk out and go completely insane and beat the tar out of these thugs who jump him. But Earthquake, being a good man, holds off at the last second, and rather than beating these guys to death or near death, he lets them go. And then again, in the flashback, we see a Vietnamese woman in a wedding dress. So if you couldn't get the theme from the first flashback, they've given you 2 now to make sure that you get
I gotta
it.
say, because of how it's portrayed and kind of the ham-fisted 80s way, television way, we've got 2 things here that normally will make me sad and not laugh at anything. A dead dog and Vietnam flashbacks. And I have great sympathy and empathy for both the dead dog, hypothetical in this case, and everyone who served in or was lost in Vietnam, a tragic, terrible war on both sides. However, in the hands of MacGyver, both of these are funny.
When placed in the world's least capable hands.
I'm not pointing fingers on writers, directors, whoever. It's just silly and it's funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have the exact same feeling, which is obviously Vietnam or war flashbacks are nothing to be made fun of, which makes it regrettable that they made these so funny. But definitely on the Mad Libs sheet, like dead dogs and Vietnam flashbacks aren't high up on there. If you go to improv night and someone's like, I need a job, and it's like radioactive dog killing Vietnam war veteran isn't on there.
And I'm gonna I've got so much to say about the actor that I just want to surprise you, and I'm gonna shock you when we talk about Randall Tex Cobb, the actor playing Toberman, Earthquake here. And let's do it at the halfway point because it's too much. It'll sidetrack us, but it is going to go for about 2 minutes. When I tell you about his backstory, you're going to be amazed. And that's coming up after our commercial break.
Yeah. You got to be careful around Earthquake because there is quite literally anything will send this guy into a flashback. I mean, you like pass the mustard and he'd be like,
mustard gas.
My Thai men used to love mustard. Yeah, mustard gas. Oh, yeah. It's like anything. So we cut to the Phoenix Foundation where they're trying to figure out what to do. They don't have any leads, but they've broken down the solution. It includes cesium-137, which is a radioactive isotope. Very dangerous, but also easy to detect if one were trying to find some. And just then, at that precise moment that he's needed, Earthquake Toberman busts in and says he will help testify. And not only that, he could identify one of the criminals at night underwater in the fog. So he knows it for sure.
And does he just have a Band-Aid on that shotgun blast on his leg at this point? Like he didn't want to go to a hospital? You just got shot?
No, I think he like mind over mattered it and like he just like willed himself to heal.
But now that I think about it, you know what didn't give him a flashback to Vietnam? Getting shot.
Weird, right? Yeah. Of all the things, like firecrackers do it, random words do it, Asian ladies, just generally.
The actual shooting, though.
Just any random.
He just sees it for what it was. I just got shot in the mountains here in the snow. That sucks.
Yeah. And now he says, I don't know if he says here or later, but he's like, how'd you get the name Earthquake? He's like, oh, I triggered a landslide for something like that. And I kept thinking that the landslide is going to be the thing that killed Thai men. But I guess that's not the case.
It's a half-assed series of flashbacks. I'm sorry. I don't even know what we were supposed to see or think. I was distracted.
It might be half of an ass, but it's a full belly of laughs. So they dress up and head over to Chemco, which is this illegal waste dumping operation. And so they pretend to have some radioactive waste and they do a little bit of snooping around. They immediately get caught. But MacGyver, using a radioactivity detector, is able to find one of the signs that was on the truck, fake sign. And so that leads us to our first Does It MacGyver of the episode.
Does it MacGyver?
That sound effect is ready. Because he reaches over, grabs a vest, and pulls out like the thinnest like sheet of lead out of this thing. It looks like tinfoil thin, and he wraps the sign up in it because the sign has got cesium-137 all over it, which is radioactive, and the lead will protect it. This absolutely does work. Even though they're heavy, these lead vests typically only need about 0.5 millimeters of lead sheeting to block 95% of radioactivity, according to the National Library of Medicine. This is because lead is extremely densely packed molecules, and so when the radioactive isotopes shoot in there, they get like basically stuck. They don't have room to like move, and they get jammed up in the lead. And that's why lead is so effective at stopping radioactive materials. And this does MacGyver. And this works out to their favor because as they're trying to escape, of course, they immediately get confronted because they've made basically no effort to conceal themselves. And they get into a fight, and Earthquake's punching people, and MacGyver's hitting people with this lead sheeting. And for some reason, the Chemco leaders like call the cops. Like, why would you call the cops if you're at an illegal chemical processing plant? But they get stopped by the bad guys. The cops show up, and that is the end of Axminster 1. You might be thinking this is bad news that the cops have shown up. You would be wrong.
Yeah.
For some reason, Mac and Earthquake are released by the cops. I have no idea why. Pete makes a passing reference. He's like, it took a lot of work to get you out. But Axminster 2 begins at the Phoenix Foundation, where Earthquake, Pete, Mac, and some Asian lady are talking about the case. They have the sign. They're talking about their approach to the court hearing, which happens basically right away. We cut to a courtroom type setting where everyone from the Phoenix Foundation plus Earthquake are trying to explain what these people were doing, and Earthquake is there calling out the goon, saying, this is the guy, I saw him do it. And our main bad guy, who is an excellent villain in this episode, shows up and he starts to agitate Earthquake and try and get him to freak out. And it works.
Do you remember Captain Edward D'Angelo in Saigon 15 years ago? Do you remember him?
I remember.
Do you remember attacking him? Do you remember the court-martial when you were described as borderline psychotic?
I object. He's badgering my witness. Mr. Toberman's past is not the question here.
Oh, but his credibility as a witness is.
She's the reason. Time in. Time in was the reason. We wanted to get married. Rules and regulations. Your precious Captain D'Angelo said it all. You see, white men marry white women.
Where is she now, Mr. Toberman?
She didn't make it. She died.
Oh. Did you kill her?
Mr. Toberman! Mr. Toberman!
He tried to kill me!
Mr. Toberman, I will not have this. Miss Mitsuga, restrain your witness or I'll hold him in contempt.
Wow, forgot that clip was so long. So there's your backstory. You now know why he's having flashbacks to time in and why he's upset. But the bad guy's badgering successfully works. And the bad guy later explains, like, no, I'm just getting this guy primed up. Like, we're just setting the stage to really screw Earthquake Toberman over. Outside, Earthquake tries to explain what's going on. And they tell him it's not his fault for having all these flashbacks. And Earthquake explains, Vietnam really sucked. I came back, I tried to open a restaurant, and that wasn't really working for me. I was trying to leave this pain behind, and then some kids set off some firecrackers.
They were serving Vietnamese food, which was probably not the best kind of restaurant to open if you're trying to get over the flashbacks of Vietnam.
Yeah, I guess maybe he figured like if you just like embrace it, like as kind of like a cognitive behavioral exposure therapy. Turns out that didn't work so well.
I think it was called Earthquake's House of Pho.
Yeah. Do you have pho in the East Coast?
Yeah, it's been here a while. And you know who I saw at a place, PHO spelling, probably 10, 11, 12 years ago was big-time Jacksonville lawyer Eddie Farah. And that's the last time I saw him in a pho restaurant. God, it's just, you really want to say pho with that because that's the way it's spelled, and pho just sounds better than pho. But, yeah.
Well, you might change your opinion when I tell you there is a particular place now we have a big Asian population, specifically a big Vietnamese population here in Fresno of Hmong people. And there is a place where there are like 4 pho restaurants all in the same like little area, and it's called Pho Corner.
Not a place for Earthquake to venture to if he's trying to avoid flashbacks.
Probably not Fresno generally, because, I mean, there's a surprising amount of Asian people. I don't know if it's surprising, but there are quite a lot of Asian people here. And so Mac tells Earthquake, you're not this guy. I saw you. You could have beat up the lawyer. You didn't. You could have beat up those kids. You didn't. Like, you keep saying you're going to do these things, and then you don't do them.
Toberman, you could have handed Farber his head in there, but you backed off.
What does that make me, a saint?
No, but that makes you a human being just like the rest of us, with feelings and pain. The Farbers of this world get fat off of people who run off and hide, who don't care. Well, you do care. You care what happened to Buddy, and you care what happens when they dump their garbage. That doesn't sound like a killer to me.
Classic Mac. Like, top shelf MacGyvering right there. So, they say, look, Earthquake, let's get out of here. We don't want to hang around this court place any longer. It's not going so well. And Earthquake's like, I need some time to clear my head, which has worked so well for him before. And in the time when he's alone, goon number 1, the pink spray goon, comes up and confronts him with a knife. At the same time, Mullet Goon, who's goon number 3 or 4, I can't keep track of all these goons, but one's got a mullet, one is short. So the short one is engaged in combat with Earthquake, and he tells Mullet Goon, he goes, hey, let's get this over with. And Mullet Goon is like, yeah, let's get it over with. And he throws the other goon over the ledge, which there is some tremendous stunts here, because the stunt guy like launches himself into space, and Short Goon splatters on the sidewalk and gets everyone's attention, and they all look up, and who is standing there all by himself looking over the ledge but Earthquake Tober.
Framed.
The cops, framed big time. The cops definitely think it's him, and the chase is on. Earthquake disappears while MacGyver and his lawyer friend try to figure out where he's at and track him down.
So Mullet Goon was instantly recognizable to me. His name here is Grade. Grade.
What?
Yeah, just Grade.
That's it? Just
but the
Grade?
name of the actor, who I never knew the guy's name, but I saw him on TV many years. Branscombe Richmond. Branscombe Richmond. And here's a little bit about him. Highly recognizable Native American actor, stuntman, and singer, who is equally capable of portraying cold-hearted villains on the one hand and warm-hearted, open good guys on the other, as evidenced by his huge grin and hearty laugh. 6'3". He's regularly played the bad guy on screen. He's been on the receiving end of the fists of Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando. Gotten pummeled by Carl Weathers in Action Jackson. He's tangled with Steven Seagal in Hard to Kill. He's the son of a stuntman. First broke into film and TV in the early 70s with minor roles in shows such as The Bionic Woman, The Rockford Files, and Magnum P.I. And here's the big thing I knew him from. He actually even found himself in the children's film Curly Sue. Early 91, Richmond scored the key role of Bobby Sixkiller in the bounty hunter-themed TV series Renegade, starring Lorenzo Lamas. And that series ran for 5 years, 100 episodes. So that's how I know him.
That's a lot of episodes for a show I've never heard of. I'm not expecting a lot of quality from a 1991 television show called Renegade.
No, with Lorenzo Lamas, no.
Yeah. But this guy was in it.
Yeah, he was in it.
He's good.
Fine.
Not any big smiles or cheerful warmth from him in this MacGyver episode.
Oh, and one more thing. He's racked up numerous awards, and as you know, this one's kind of painful because he was voted the Native American Entertainer of the Year. But I know you were hoping to win Native American Entertainer of the Year that one year, and then unfortunately we found out you're not Native American, and that there was a whole big thing. But
yeah,
this guy Branscombe Richmond won it. Yeah,
it was a real shock to me because I definitely don't look like the whitest person to have ever existed.
And you did so much entertaining that year.
I think it's fair to say that I'm entertaining. Yeah. I mean, you might not find it funny, but
the feather headdress might have been a touch too far. Maybe you shouldn't have worn that.
You know, it was left over on the ground at Coachella. I just work with what I have. Earthquake goes right to Chemco. Like, he knows exactly where he's going because they went there earlier in the episode, and he's going to get revenge. Finds Mullet Goon right away and knocks him the F out. One punch knocks him out, puts him in a trash can. MacGyver, I guess having assumed that Earthquake was going to Chemco, is hot on his trail. And Earthquake's sneaking around, and MacGyver is sneaking around a little more sneakily, and he's crossing a beam between buildings, and one of the worst stunt doubles you've ever seen is up there crossing the beam, narrowly getting caught, almost getting caught, not quite. But Earthquake and MacGyver are now in Chemco, and that is the end of Axminster 2.
And the
episode flying.
You texted me as you were watching it and said you were loving it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is exciting. Season 3. I did not feel the same way, but I guess we'll find out at Scorch. No, I did not feel the same way. Just like last episode. I love The Negotiator. You didn't. I think we got a flip of that exactly coming up.
This episode is hilarious.
I don't.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
But
I'm reeling here.
All right, so 2 Axminsters down, 2 or 3 to go. It's a good time for a time capsule commercial. We'll be back right after this.
It's another unforgettable moment with making fun of MacGyver.
MacGyver actually comes back with a lizard.
A lizard. Does this MacGyver, Jeff?
Does it MacGyver?
Yes, it does. You can definitely cook and eat lizards.
Keep listening for more finger quotes unforgettable moments on Making Fun of MacGyver.
If you heard the report on 59 cold cereals by a leading consumer magazine, you'd fall through the floor.
Mine's high in calcium.
And salt.
Salt?
High in fiber. And sugar.
Sugar?
Lots of protein. And added fat. Fat? Nabisco shredded wheat was rated tops in nutrition. For no added sugar or salt, low fat, plenty of fiber and protein. Nabisco shredded wheat. Nobody else.
I mean, the real thing to do here is not worry about the nutritional content of your cereal. It's to stop eating cereal.
Ooh, them's fighting words. I've probably eaten.
It's not good for you.
Eaten more cereal in my life than any other food. I think that's a safe bet.
Are you one of those like cereal for dinner types, or like you want a snack, you eat
but
cereal?
But 95% of my days in my life, and there's been a lot of days, have started with a bowl or 2 of cereal. Jeff, let's talk about the semi-star of this episode, Randall Tex Cobb, born May 7th.
Yeah.
Wow, my dad's birthday, 1950. My dad was born 1949, May 7th. Okay.
Happy 73rd birthday, Randall Tex
I thought you were wishing
Cobb.
one to my dad, but
and Sam's dad.
So, American actor, martial artist, and former professional boxer.
Oh.
Have you heard of Larry Holmes?
No.
You got to have, as a good sports fan, you got to know Larry Holmes. He was a heavyweight champ for about 7-8 years in the 70s into the 80s. Larry Holmes beat Muhammad Ali. Yeah.
Really?
Larry Holmes is one of the top 10 great heavyweights of all time.
Nicknamed the Easton Assassin.
Randall Tex Cobb went 15 rounds with Larry Holmes and lost in decision.
Really?
In 1981. He took such a beating, though, that Howard Cosell, you know that name, right? Howard Cosell. And then Randall Tex Cobb taking another jab to the face. And now an uppercut from Holmes. Anyway, Howard Cosell was so disturbed by the beating that Randall Tex Cobb took in his match with Larry Holmes, he swore off calling boxing after that. That I'm done calling boxing. This is a disgrace. I can't believe they're not stopping this fight. Randall Tex Cobb never went down against one of the all-time great heavyweights who...
You never got me down. You never got me down.
He was thinking about his doag. You want to talk about toughness?
Oof. Goodness
Randall
gracious.
Tex Cobb is one of the toughest humans to ever live, as far as I can tell. He began his...
Oh my God, this dude is blasting him right in the face.
Considered to possess one of the greatest boxing chins of all time.
Oh my God, this is brutal. Holy shit. Oh man, he looks horrible. He is just standing in there and just getting destroyed.
Cobb was a brawler who packed considerable punching power. He began his fighting career in full contact kickboxing in 1975 before making the jump to professional boxing 2 years later.
Oh my God. This dude's the real deal.
He unsuccessfully challenged Larry Holmes for the WBC and lineal world heavyweight title in November '82, losing a one-sided unanimous decision. He took wins over notable heavyweights of his era, though, including Bernardo Mercado, Ernie Shavers, and Leon Spinks. You might know his brother Michael Spinks, who lost to Tyson.
So here it says Holmes was lost in a one-sided decision. So I guess the judges weren't surprised with his Homer Simpson-esque, I will let you exhaust yourself by punching me in the face.
Cobb lost in
Yeah. It describes it as one-sided, which just from the little bit of boxing that I watched, it looked one-sided.
He also acted in numerous things. The movie Raising Arizona, Miami Vice, Walker, Texas Ranger, And then there's one more thing. I went down the rabbit hole big time on Tex Cobb here, and this story was actually the most disturbing part of everything. So there's a writer named Pete Dexter, won the U.S. National Book Award in 1988 for his novel Paris Trout. He worked for what is now the Palm Beach Post in West Palm Beach in Florida, but he quit in 1972 because the paper's owners forced the editorial page editor to endorse Richard Nixon over George McGovern. So then this writer, Pete Dexter, becomes a columnist for the Philadelphia Daily News. Pete Dexter, right? He's writing for the Philadelphia Daily News. He writes a story one day in 1981 about an incident in the Devil's Pocket neighborhood of South Philadelphia. Supposedly the worst neighborhood in Philadelphia by far.
Oh, Devil's Pocket? That's not a nice place?
So this column, Dexter writes about a murder involving a drug deal gone wrong. It was published in December of 81 in the Philadelphia Daily News. A couple of weeks. So it starts like this. A couple of weeks ago, a kid named Buddy Lego was found dead in Cobb's Creek, wrote Dexter. It was a Sunday afternoon. He was from the neighborhood, a good athlete, a nice kid, stoned all the time, the kind of kid you think you could have saved. That's what it says. The article gets published. The kid's mother calls this guy, Pete Dexter, nearly hysterical. How can you write that my son was a drug user? Now, the victim, Lego's brother, again, this kid who was killed, he's a bartender at this bar called Dougherty's. He's also on the phone screaming at the 38-year-old columnist, demanding a retraction. And Pete Dexter says, I'm not going to retract it, but I'll come down and I'll talk to you and we'll talk about it. He goes to Dougherty's bar to talk to Tommy Lego, having told Lego he wouldn't be publishing a retraction. In the bar, Dexter gets blindsided by 2 blows to the jaw, splintering and breaking his teeth. Scurries out of there. He had already had plans for later that night to go to his friend's birthday party, that friend, Randall Tex Cobb. So he goes to that party and tells Cobb what happened. And Cobb's like, you want to go back there and settle this? And Dexter's like, okay, let's go. So they go back there. They walk in, and the Dexter's like, well, there's not going to be any cheap shots now. I got one of the toughest men in the world.
A heavyweight
right?
champion. Yeah,
and
I know,
Dexter
right?
says, out of the corner of his eye, he sees someone scurry out the door. He sees this little fat guy scurry out the door. 2 minutes later, as they're still talking with everyone and things are 20 to 30 guys come in with bats and tire irons. And it is on. And Cobb gets hit over the head with a tire iron, Tex Cobb. Dexter gets hit in the face with a bat, beaten severely, including a broken back, pelvis, brain damage, dental devastation. Cobb staggers to his feet, screams everybody off, and says, like, if you killed this guy, I'm going to kill all of you. Staggers out of there and gets into a hospital. Dexter survives. He wrote about this in a novel, his 2009 novel called Spooner.
Oh, that's
but
scary.
Cobb's injuries cost him a shot at the WA heavyweight champion Mike Weaver. So I just thought that was a fascinating backstory.
That's an amazing. This whole thing is unbelievable. This is better than any Does It MacGyver that I've pulled in a while.
So that's Randall Tex Cobb, who went 15 rounds with Larry Holmes, wouldn't get knocked. The guy that beat Muhammad Ali just a few years earlier. Now, granted, Ali is at his really, not in his prime. He's fading, but still, Holmes was the real deal. And this guy, Randall Tex Cobb, is one of the toughest humans ever.
He got hit in the head with a tire iron. I have met somebody once who got their head caved in with a baseball bat. It really only takes one shot. So it's a miracle that you survive getting hit with a tire iron and that this other guy survived it all.
And a few years later, he's playing Toberman, talking about his dog on MacGyver. So,
yeah, my dog.
Anyway.
Earthquake Toberman. Wow, what an adventure. Yeah. Well, congratulations. We need to find this guy. We should interview him. Oh, all right. Are you ready for Axeman's?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So Chemco is now on alert. The goon goes to the main office, and they're like, okay, we know that he's here now. And Earthquake gets immediately caught. Just basically, he barges in, just like the scenario you're talking about at the bar. He walks straight in there, not thinking about it all, gets immediately caught and handcuffed. Meanwhile, Mac himself is sneaking around and trying to figure out where Earthquake is and set up a trap. So there's a couple of things coming up here. First of all, he stuffs a tire into a car and starts to fill it up, and we'll have a second Does It MacGyver in just a minute. But for the purposes of now, the bad guys are threatening to kill Earthquake, who is handcuffed to this like pipe over his head. Do you want the Does It MacGyvers?
Sure.
All right, so there's two. Hit it twice.
Does it MacGyver? Does it MacGyver?
The first one is he's stuffed a giant tire into a car and he's slowly filling it up with air while he leaves out. He has this tendency to like leave time bomb type traps behind and just hope that it works out. And of course that it does. So what he does here is he puts a pump on it and lets the tire continue to fill up until it explodes and causes a distraction. According to a report in the Journal of Forensic and Legal Medicine from the year 2013, the volume of an exploding tire is about 125 decibels, about as loud as a jackhammer or a rock concert. It's hard to tell from the show how close the car is to where they are, but that is still pretty loud, especially if you factor in the exploding glass. So I'm going to say the tire time bomb works.
Okay.
This does MacGyver.
I love the fact that he does all that just to think that a sound, distraction will be enough at some point. 5 minutes later, this noise is going to distract everyone.
Joke's on you. Guess what? It works.
Yeah, it worked.
So MacGyver in his snooping is like, when I was a teenager, when I was 8 years old, my dad got me two things, a subscription to Popular Mechanics and a chemistry set. This place is basically one big chemistry set because they're in a chemical cleanup plant. So he finds chlorine and benzene and he combines them into two different jars. And he's like, if you combine these things together, you can get something that's going to help me out of the situation. What he ends up doing, and I'm leaping forward a little bit, he takes these jars and he throws them like grenades so that the chemicals will mix. In the show, it makes like a cloud of gas that everyone, like it obscures their vision and people can't see what's going on. However, combining these two chemicals creates something called chlorobenzene, which makes a lot of sense. It's chlorine and benzene combined together, which Wikipedia describes as an aromatic organic compound that is a colorless, flammable liquid. The combination of these two things does not make a gas. It makes a third thing that's used in production of dyes, rubbers, and pesticides, although it's fallen out of favor because of superior chemicals have been developed. I find this weird because if he did make gas out of this chlorine, he would have made chlorine gas, which is an unbelievably deadly chemical that is so effective at killing people. It was used for a short time in trench warfare in World War I. So this does not MacGyver, and good thing it doesn't, because guess who is standing in the middle of the chlorine gas cloud? The indestructible Earthquake Toberman. So the chlorine gas attack does not work. That does not MacGyver.
2 out of 3.
But he does 2 out of 3 for the episode.
Yeah.
At least we've got some.
Yeah.
And the chlorine benzene one is a legitimate one. The tire one is a legitimate one. Sometimes I have to stretch a little bit, but this is for real. But you don't want to create chlorine gas. Don't make chlorine gas. Especially don't mix ammonia and chlorine in your house. They call that shit the maid's mistake. You will die.
That sounds. If I put a nice generic music bed behind that, I think we've got a good PSA. Jeff says, "Don't make chlorine gas, folks."
We should go back through our episodes and find all the times when I explain how to survive an avalanche. I explain how to not make chlorine gas. It's good stuff. So, shortly prior to Mac breaking in, the main bad guy is threatening to shoot Mullet Bad Guy as part of the setup to frame yet another murder on Earthquake.
Please, Mr. Farmer, don't kill me. I've always done what you asked me, please.
A real company man till the last.
Yes, I am.
I'm impressed. You see, he killed LaFawn and then came here. We had no choice but to shoot him after he murdered you, Grade.
Congratulations. You just made number 2 on the hit parade.
Why don't you give the police a call?
Now?
It starts with the prowler. Then we'll hear shots. They'll get her just in time.
No, Dorman, please!
Bad guy remains bad. Mm-hmm. At that very moment, the inner tube on the tire explodes, causing everyone to be distracted by the sound. MacGyver kicks in the door, and with his unbelievable accuracy, he chucks his chemical grenades into the space where everybody is. It makes a big cloud that obscures everyone's vision. And at that time, Earthquake Toberman goes beast mode and breaks the handcuffs with nothing but the power of his rage. He very nearly grabs the main baddie and throws him off a bridge before having yet one more flashback to Vietnam, where he sees the guy as his enemy CO officer and pulls back at the last second as the police arrive, and Mullet Goon is shouting this. He's confessing everything to the cops, and that is the end of Axminster 3.
Yeah. Now, had Earthquake used his chin to break out of that contraption, I think it would have been very believable. They could have just showed him using his chin to break those bars, but
yeah,
this guy's a legend.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I now, having learned more about him, I believe he could break handcuffs with his bare hands.
Yeah.
You know who could not break handcuffs with their bare hands?
You or me?
Yeah, Stubbins and Marlowe. They once had a boxing match, and it didn't go very well because they were old. We have a very abbreviated Axminster 4, where everything is wrapping up. The main bad guy wasn't just running this one place. Apparently, they're shutting down an entire network of illegal chemical dumping facilities. Earthquake says MacGyver's going to give him a ride back to the mountain. MacGyver walks back in carrying a puppy, a replacement dog for Earthquake.
And Chemco Waste isn't the only one we put out of business. This guy Farber had his fingers in about a half a dozen toxic pies in 5 different states, all of them running the same scam.
All out of business. Thanks to you, Earthquake.
You know, Karen's right. We're all really grateful to you. So, what's next? What are you going to do now?
I just want to go home. MacGyver's going to give me a ride.
Hey! Jeep's ready and waiting. And, so is my friend here. Maybe I should say Earthquake's friend.
Man, look at him. Ain't he something? Ain't he just something?
I mean,
she.
It's a dog.
Sure is.
She's really special.
No, it's a dog.
Does this one die within seconds of licking something bad?
And that is the spoilers.
The
slash
spoilers
Earthquake.
slash Earthquake. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we've recapped and ridiculed this one, but now let's review the spoilers. Let's spoil it.
Name's MacGyver.
You go first, and I'll give you a chance to sway me, because my rating's low.
I love it. It might be my favorite episode of the season. It
Good
might
Lord,
be my
man.
It might be my favorite episode so far.
Stop it. Oh my God.
I love absolutely everything about this episode.
Oh my God.
It's so unexpectedly funny to me. To me, it's unexpectedly funny. I love Earthquake Toberman. The plot moves so quickly. The whole episode, there's like very little downtime. There's unbelievable cheese with the music and the flashbacks and everything. Everything works so perfectly. The bad guy's terrific. There are some decent MacGyverisms. The plot is interesting and funny. This is a 9 out of 10 mullet affair. This is a 9 out of 10 mullet affair for MacGyver. There's nothing about this episode. They find a random Asian lawyer lady to be part of it. Like, I don't even know why she's in it. I do know why she's in it. For more flashbacks. That's why she's in it. The plot it's so silly. MacGyver is like on this environmentalism tear. The dog dies so fast. It is so great. I love everything about it. It's wonderful.
I am stunned. I really am stunned. A quick check of the stats of the Excel sheet shows you've never given a 9, Jeff.
I was going to ask you if I had before I gave it the rating. I was going to ask because I'm like, I don't know if I want to be curve breaking. And then I thought, you know what? I don't want to know. I want my opinions to be my opinions. I don't want them to be impacted by anything. And if I feel strongly, and I don't think I've ever felt this strongly about an episode until this one.
Lost Love Part 2, you gave an 8. Jack in the Box, which I can't even remember right now, you gave an 8. Killzone.
Phoenix Under Siege. Is that
I
an
also
8?
can't remember Killzone right now, an 8.
What about Deathlock?
DOA MacGyver, you gave an 8. Is this all you? Yeah, you've given tons of 8s.
Nothing broke through. 8 is like a B+.
Phoenix Under Siege, you gave an 8. Well, it comes down to that je ne sais quoi. Sometimes you don't know why you don't love an episode. Like you really didn't crystallize why you didn't love The Negotiator last episode so much, but me and Bo liked it. And this one wasn't doing it for me. For whatever reason, I didn't have a lot of great points to write them down, but it wasn't holding my interest. And the way cheese is often something we reward, this time it just didn't do it for me. The dog dying, okay. The pink sludge, okay. The Vietnam flashbacks to me is like a topic that's so inherently sad and poignant and meaningful. And it just was turned into that's the crappiest Vietnam flashback in the history of Vietnam flashbacks. And there's been a lot of Vietnam flashbacks in media.
In this show.
In this show, in movies, everything.
Yeah.
That is, when you say a flashback, you almost think it's someone's talking about Vietnam. Even if you're talking to a 10-year-old. You're like, what? How do you know about Vietnam? You served? Oh, you just mean to when you were 3 in the sandbox. No. But this is the bottom rung on Vietnam flashbacks. And the death punch for me on MacGyver episodes is when I get bored. That's what I think I've landed on, is when I get bored with it. And for some reason, I got bored here. As much as I grow, and I didn't like the guy. I don't know if he was root forable immediately, picking up the guy and just gonna body slam him to his death or something. Because now, granted, the dog died on pollution, but I don't know if that gives you the right to go rip someone's head off because you're polluting the environment.
How good was the dog? Was he the goodest boy?
He wasn't good at staying alive.
Yeah,
So
no,
I was
he wasn't,
waiting for
was
you
he?
to. I was waiting for you to bring me up, but you didn't get me up. It's not the first time that's happened, but because you gave it such a high rating, I think we're going to average out to something good. But I got 4 mullets for this.
I am actually opposed. You know, I'll say another thing about this episode. I think really great MacGyver episodes have unbelievable additional information about them. And this information about Randall Tex Cobb is like next level stuff.
You know what? I thought 4 was low. So let me give it 5. I'm going to give it 5 mullets. I'm going to give it 5. I was still within 30 seconds of issuing the 4. I'll do it. So your 9, my 5, add it up, divide it by 2, and you get
7.
This one's rated 7 out of 10 mullets.
Oh, wow. This time you can actually say the right number? Okay.
I usually know the right number, and I just give the wrong one.
Usually,
'cause it's
not
funny.
always.
No,
All right,
not
so
always.
It keeps the string of 7s going. Not a string, but we've had a lot. We've had more 7s this season than anything else. All right, so that's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's everyone talks about season 3 being the best. It really is.
Let's crunch the numbers now. How do you do on MacGyverisms?
2 out of 3. We got the tire explosion diversion. We have the lead sheeting protecting from cesium-137, and we have the failed chlorine bomb.
How many times did someone say MacGyver this episode?
This feels like a high count episode because there's like there's like a lot of there's this new character and earthquake in it, and they whenever there's a new character, they usually have to like work it in their MacGyverism. So I'm gonna go with 21.
I got 4. I got 4.
Come on!
Who said 4 times?
Oh my god! I hate this game. I was like, at least you know I don't cheat at it.
I don't know if I fell asleep. I didn't fall asleep. I watched it on the couch. No one was saying it.
Did you
for
fall
whatever
asleep?
reason? No, I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure. Wait,
Okay.
was 4
Is that
how
the
many times
lowest?
they said it? Or is that when my rating? Wait. I think that's how many times.
Is that the lowest MacGyver mentions?
It's tied for the lowest. Yeah. It's tied for the lowest. And the average coming in was 21.3, and this brings the average to 20.3.
Okay.
Still well over the other 2 seasons.
It's still completely unreasonable.
Yeah. Most make funable moment was the dog dying. What else you got?
Well, I mean,
dog?
the sludge being hilariously pink is pretty funny. But it's got to be. I think mine is the dog.
Gotta be the dog.
The instant death of the dog is so funny.
It might even be
It
just
just
him
like
saying
it
dog.
coughs like twice. It goes like, and then it's just there's a shot of it dead, just dead.
Quality acting job.
Yeah.
on that dog.
Too bad he's also like he's probably really dead now because this was a while ago.
Oh, true. That dog is.
Yeah. And the
that dog-
replacement dog is probably dead too.
Multiple dead dogs.
Yep.
in this episode. I guess that's going to do it. We'll wrap it up here, and oh my gosh, doorbell.
Why don't you go get it?
You want me to go get it?
Yeah, you should go get it this time.
Okay, it's been a while. Oh my God, Jeff, look, it's Earthquake, a.k.a. Toberman, from this Season 3 episode of MacGyver, The Spoilers. Earthquake, what are you doing here?
You killed my dog.
Whoa, why do you think Sam even did anything to you?
I'm sorry, it just like really triggered one of my flashbacks. You look exactly like one of those pencil neck dorks from my time in Vietnam. It really kind of sets me off. The sight of your pasty, untanned skin reminds me so much of the smell of napalm and the love of my time in.
Sorry to inadvertently do that to you, Earthquake. That's definitely not my intentions. I will try to do something about the skin, though, and the neck. I'm working on it. But wouldn't your dog be long dead by now of natural causes? It's been like 30-something years.
Yeah, MacGyver gave me a nice puppy. She was a real good dog. A source of comfort. Almost like my sweet time in. I remember the smell of rains in Nam. I remember polishing my rifle between downpours. In Nam, you remember that I was in Vietnam.
Yeah, no, I got that. Yeah, you were in Nam. We got that. We watched the episode, and now you've told us a few times, but it's kind of hard to overlook, because half this episode was pretty much PTSD flashbacks. I mean,
who are you calling a PTSD flashback, you skinny non-com nerd? I'll marry whoever I want. This isn't
Whoa! Neither of us here were there. Neither of us were even alive for Vietnam.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sometimes I have tough time separating reality from my flashbacks and my dogs from my dogs. Where were we? I'm sorry about that.
Honestly, I'm not sure where we were. The dog, your dead wife. What are we?
You killed my wife!
Stop it! Stop! No, I didn't do it. It wasn't me, as the great Shaggy once said. And she wasn't your wife anyway. You never got married, right?
No thanks to you, you pencil neck non-com dork. You don't even know what combat's like. You probably couldn't polish a rifle with both hands if I handed it to you backwards underwater in the fog. 5'10", I didn't even know they stack shit that high.
Sam was a baby during Vietnam. Yes. I wasn't even born yet.
You mean you ruined my life as a baby? That's even worse. Where's my dog and my wife?
Earthquake, no.
Boy, buddy, this really seems like you should really get some help.
Yeah.
No, I think I got it under control. I'm just gonna go off in the woods with my dog. Woods that take a lot out of me and seem a lot like Vietnam. We were just kids in those days, not ready for the horror of war and dead dogs until I met my time in at the market that summer.
There was the smell of...
We get the idea, but Earthquake, we don't have your dog.
Why did you kill my dog? Did you kill my time in? Why did you do this to me? It's just like Nam.
Get him out, please. Come on.
Go. Whoa, wow, he's really big.
Larry Holmes. Where's Larry Holmes?
Really?
When you need him.
I know he couldn't take him out either.
And look, there goes Earthquake out
the door.
Okay,
let's get him out of here.
Okay, thank you.
That's a lot of flashbacks. Really, that guy, anything sets that guy off.
Yeah. I haven't seen that many flashbacks since Grandpa Harry came by like last year.
I know. They should have a flashback off. And then if they did some dance, it would be a flashback dance.
That's one other way that Deborah could get rid of MacGyver. Flashback off. Flashback him off.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other final thoughts from you, Jeff?
No more Earthquake voice, please. That's I'm gonna ruin my throat.
I don't think the way we talked about James Hong getting an Oscar, or I don't think you're gonna get Native American Entertainer of the Year for that performance as Earthquake.
Okay, I just want to remind you, James Hong, famous for his Asian accent, is from Minnesota.
That's true. Is there a follow up to that, or is that?
No, I just wanted to remind you of that because that's hilarious.
And you're from where? Ohio.
I am from Ohio, but please don't tell people.
Well, let's thank our Patreon patrons. Bo in Florida, who did another fine job as co-host with us last time. Does it, Bo Rigby? Hell yeah, it does.
We have Claire in New Jersey, who wonders, how is it MacGyver can defuse bombs with paper clips and give people little puppies, but can't keep a girlfriend alive longer for more than 2 episodes? Go to deadfictionalgirlfriendreport.com for the answers to that and more.
Christian in Norway, who is right behind Christian Alfonso for the prettiest Christian we've seen in the last 60 days or so.
And Simon in Sweden, a fine young man who knows a good episode of MacGyver when he sees one, like this one.
That's
Unlike
right.
my co-host, who does not know good episodes of MacGyver when they see one.
And get those vocal cords warmed up, Jeff, because you're going to help me sing out here. But we're always looking for new friends, so feel free to reach out to us on the social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and the YouTube account. Leave a message on the hotline at 904-419-3310. And throw something in a tip jar if you like at Patreon. But above all else, keep coming back because we're going to keep making fun of MacGyver. So for Earthquake and Jeff, I'm Sam, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around, desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
She didn't make it. She died. Oh.